So listen, I want to kind of talk about this with y'all real quick. Kind of throwing this idea or thought and bouncing it off of y'all, of course, right? Now, we've talked about opening portals or portals opening and what possibly could come through them, right? What that could mean for our planet, what could potentially happen, what it could mean, this, that, and the third. We've thrown around all kinds of conspiracies, right, when it comes to portals. Here's one I was thinking about that I don't know if I've heard anybody talk about yet. And if they have, please point me in that direction because I want to see a video and hear how they talk about it and go in depth on it. But when we talk about portals, right, and excuse me, y'all, if I have to look down at my phone, my son's out right now. So if he hits me, I kind of need to look down and text him back just to make sure he's good. But back to what I was saying, right? We've always talked about portals in the sense of them possibly opening up anywhere, any location, and something coming through them or something going through them. Coming through or going through them. That's the way I've always heard people reference portals, right? What if a portal open up didn't necessarily have to have something come through, but it altered or changed everybody's mood, temperament, their you know what I mean? How you felt. Like it changed everybody's like demeanor. Like it made people more angry, more volatile, more emotional, more. What if a portal opening up did that? Would explain some things, right? The hatred that's constantly building on the planet. A lot of things, because we go through these peaks and valleys of calm, then violence, hatred, then we back to calm. It's like peak trough, peak trough, peak trough. What if a portal opening up somewhere could be responsible for that? I don't know. It was just something I thought of. It was something I thought of, and I had to bounce that off of y'all and get that out to somebody to see. I know it sounds crazy, but so what? I don't care. Now, this video here is physicists claim that they opened a portal and multidimensional beings revealed human body is a soul vessel. Let's check it out.
Dr. John Blitch, a former program manager at DARPA and Special Forces colonel, has recently come forward with claims that have captured the attention of both scientific and paranormal communities. Blitch, who played a pivotal role in transferring rover and robotic technology between NASA and the Department of Defense, is no stranger to innovation and intelligence. Inducted into the Space Technology Hall of Fame and holding advanced degrees in cognitive psychology, his credibility has been widely respected across military and academic sectors. Yet, his latest revelations delve into a domain far beyond conventional science. According to Blitch, the most memorable and intense of his experiences was an encounter with an imposing, mantis-like entity that stood roughly 7 feet tall. This being carried a distinct male presence and conveyed a sense of irritation, as though it were displeased with Dr. Blitch's reactions.
Always what? 7 feet tall or tall, 9 foot tall, 8 foot tall beings, 10 foot. They're always super tall. Like that's something that's consistent in sightings, in interactions. Just always that. First thing I notice or hear.
The encounter took place in his third-floor bedroom, and although the entrance was a deck with no stairs, the entity seemed to appear effortlessly through a screen door. This being, according to his account, communicated a message that challenged the very foundation of our understanding of human existence. The entity reportedly told him that the human body is not just flesh and bone, but rather a complex machine engineered to house a soul for a single lifetime. It did not speak in words, but rather projected thoughts and emotions directly into his consciousness. The core of its message was both profound and unsettling. The human body, it explained, is not simply a biological entity made of flesh and bone. Instead, it is a finely tuned, highly sophisticated vessel, a kind of organic mechanism specifically crafted to support the experience of a soul through the duration of a single lifetime. Dr. John Blitch described this moment as a complete reframing of how he viewed life itself. He had long accepted conventional scientific explanations of biology, anatomy, and consciousness. However, this encounter presented a viewpoint that positioned human beings not merely as physical organisms, but as spiritual entities temporarily residing within a tangible form. The being's assertion reframed the body as an interface, an instrument through which the soul interacts with the material world. According to the entity, the soul is eternal, whereas the body is temporary, built to serve a specific purpose in a single, finite experience. The implication of this claim was staggering. It suggested that every human experience, emotional, physical, and cognitive, is filtered through a machine custom designed to maximize soul development.
So what happens when the soul or the body that the soul in ceases to exist, no longer can continue on, dies, whatever you want to classify that? Does the soul then transfer itself to another body on some Fallen type thing, like that movie with Denzel Washington, Time's on My Side? You know that movie, and they would just touch people and it would go from body to body. Is it on some like that? When that body can no longer go on, it gets weak. Does the soul have a specific amount of time to get to another body, and then does that reset the clock? Or does it have just the remainder of that life? Do you spend the rest? I could go on and on, because I've thought about this too. You know what I mean? Is your soul just body hopping to the next body until it finds one that fits and can start all over?
Pain, joy, fear, love, and every nuance in between were not simply reactions to stimuli, but integral components of a greater learning system. This perspective implied that life itself is not random nor purely biological, but part of a guided, structured journey of growth. Dr. Blitch recounted how the being stressed that while it and others like it could manipulate the physical form, even repair or modify it if necessary, the soul remained untouched and beyond their control. This distinction seemed crucial. The being emphasized that its work, whatever it entailed, was focused solely on the body, the machine. The soul, as it expressed, was sovereign. It could not be extracted, harmed, or altered. This comment, though brief in delivery, reverberated through him like a wave, bringing with it both relief and wonder. The being seemed to express frustration at the resistance it encountered from human subjects, likening it to a surgeon trying to help a patient who, in their fear, pulls away mid-procedure. In its view, cooperation was necessary for the work to proceed, though the exact nature of this work was never fully disclosed. Still, the being's tone, while firm, did not convey cruelty or aggression. Rather, it conveyed something closer to exasperation, as if the creature had been assigned a role in assisting humanity, but was continuously met with confusion and fear from those it sought to help.
Some people have said that too. Like, while we fear them, they're actually here to help and guide us. If you think about it, like, according to some civilizations in the past, they got a lot of the knowledge that they had from extraterrestrial beings. That's how they received the knowledge and the wisdom and was able to build and do different things, innovate. It came from extraterrestrial beings. So why do we still, at this present day, look at them in a way that, like, we fear them? We fear them. We fear the thought of them. Why is that? Is it because we've been brainwashed? the movies that we watch, all of them that brainwashed us to believe that they're here to harm. They're here to harm us instead of here to impute wisdom, guide us, give us information, show us the way. Think about that.
Interaction forced Dr. Blitch to consider that the fundamental nature of human life might be more intricate and interconnected with unseen forces than previously imagined. He reflected deeply on the idea that the boundaries between physical science and spiritual awareness might not be as clear-cut as modern disciplines suggest. The suggestion that life is a curated experience, facilitated by a machine body housing an eternal soul, opened a doorway in his thinking, a bridge between neuroscience, metaphysics, and something beyond. Dr. Blitch explained that from that day forward, his approach to existence changed. The human experience, in all its triumphs and tribulations, now seemed purposeful rather than incidental. He began to question long-held assumptions not only about biology and psychology, but about the very meaning of consciousness itself. The entity's message, its claim that we are spiritual beings navigating a physical experience within a temporary machine, was both comforting and transformative. He acknowledged the existence of recovered technology and beings, some of which appeared sentient, like the tall, mantis-like figures, while others, such as the smaller grey entities, seemed to function more like biologically engineered assistants or machines. These revelations, in his view, were so fundamentally disruptive to humanity's understanding of life and existence that many within government and science circles may have deemed the world unprepared to fully accept them. Despite the weight of these disclosures, Dr. Blitch emphasized that the public deserves thoughtful and measured discussion on the subject. With his background in neuroscience, military service, and psychological research, he feels a responsibility to contribute to the ongoing conversation. While he acknowledged the emotional and physical toll these experiences had taken, he stood firm in his belief that they are real, that they warrant serious attention, and that society must be prepared to face a future where the presence of other intelligences may no longer be deniable. This wasn't Blitch's first brush with unexplained phenomena. He recounted vivid memories from childhood involving paralyzing encounters with beings who had large, dark eyes and an unsettling presence. These visitations occurred through his bedroom window and were so terrifying that he was left physically immobilized, unable to scream until the paralysis passed. Despite his father's reassurances that monsters didn't exist, Blitch was never convinced. The fear was too real, the details too sharp, and the physiological responses too intense to be dismissed as dreams. As he matured, Blitch tried to rationalize these events, relying on his skeptical and scientific nature. However, the experiences persisted into adulthood and became increasingly difficult to ignore. He spoke about a particular instance in which he awoke with 3 deep bruises on his upper right arm. The marks resembled those of a grasping hand with 3 or 4 fingers. Despite thorough self-examination and logical deduction, he found no plausible explanation for how he could have received such injuries. What struck him most was his immediate impulse to record the bruises on video, something completely out of character, further suggesting an external influence. Blitch held top-secret SCI clearance as a nuclear weapons delivery officer and had commanded Pershing 2 missile batteries. His experiences with unexplained phenomena did not impair his professional responsibilities, nor did they discredit his contributions to national security and scientific advancement. He revealed that he was not alone in these experiences. At least 4 other military professionals with similar levels of trust and clearance had come forward with accounts of encounters with non-human entities.
See, and why do they choose who they choose? Like, why? I've been thinking about that for a while too. Why do they choose the people that they choose to come to and talk about and give this information? And it's normally people in the same type of field as these guys. Why is that? That's the question. Why do they pick and choose and go and speak to people or give that information or impute that wisdom or just talk to a select few. A select few by design in this specific field. We got to figure that out. Maybe there lies the answer to humanity. We thinking it's somewhere in a pyramid, or we thinking it's somewhere underwater, or the lost city of Atlantis may have it, or somewhere in Antarctica, or some. Maybe the answer lies with the people that they're speaking to. Imagine the ones that are scared to come forth, who have had this same encounter, but are just afraid to come forward because of what all comes with that.
This growing body of testimonies from respected individuals adds a compelling layer of credibility to his claims. One of the most compelling events Blitch described took place after witnessing a traumatic event in Oklahoma City. In an attempt to manage the emotional aftermath, he began taking meditative mountain bike rides to a secluded area in Denver. One particular day, he felt an overpowering urge to trespass into a fenced region marked as Indian burial grounds. Despite internal conflict, he gave in and entered the area. Shortly after, he noticed he had a spontaneous bloody nose and collapsed from a sudden wave of disorientation and cold. When he regained his senses, he was inexplicably drawn to a light in the distance. As he approached, he saw what he thought was a fuel truck, though his memory of the event was fragmented and surreal. Instead of engaging, fear overwhelmed him, and he turned away. When he finally made it home, he realized he had been gone far longer than expected, hours longer, despite only intending a short bike ride. At a convenience store, a police officer informed him that his wife had filed a missing persons report. His body felt as if it had endured a marathon, and the incident marked a turning point in his understanding of reality. These experiences, combined with his professional background, led Blitch to conclude that something beyond conventional explanation was engaging with him. He spoke of his struggle to differentiate between dreams and reality, especially when dealing with altered perceptions. A particularly haunting moment occurred when he encountered the cover of Whitley Strieber's book, Communion. Seeing the image of a grey alien triggered an overwhelming physiological response. His young daughter had to physically tug him back to awareness, breaking the spell that had paralyzed him. Blitch stressed that he doesn't share these experiences lightly. His background in neuroscience gives him a unique understanding of how the human brain and body react to trauma, fear, and extraordinary stimuli. The physiological responses he experienced, paralysis, disorientation, and sudden cold, are not things easily fabricated or imagined. They point to a reality that many find difficult to accept, that we may be visited, observed, and perhaps even influenced by intelligences beyond our comprehension. The core of the message imparted by the humanoid being, that the human body is a vessel designed to house a soul, has profoundly shaped Blitch's worldview. It bridges a gap between science and spirituality, hinting at a larger framework of existence that includes purpose, design, and perhaps even destiny. While mainstream science remains cautious about integrating such claims into accepted paradigms, Blitch's testimony adds to a growing chorus of highly credentialed individuals who are beginning to speak out. In a world that increasingly values empirical evidence, testimonies like Dr. Blitch's challenge us to expand the boundaries of what we consider possible. His dual roles as a military officer and cognitive scientist make him a unique and credible voice in the discussion about non-human intelligence and the metaphysical nature of human existence. Whether one views his experiences as evidence of extraterrestrial contact, multidimensional phenomena, or psychological episodes influenced by trauma, they are undeniably thought-provoking. In the end, Dr. John Blitch's account serves as both a cautionary tale and an invitation. It cautions us not to dismiss what we do not understand, and it invites us to explore the mysteries of consciousness, existence, and the universe with both humility and curiosity.
But you gotta first provide people with a safe space. Provide them and a lot more. If we talked about this stuff in a way that was receiving, intriguing to people, not judging, then more people would be open to having these discussions. More people would come forward. More people wouldn't panic or go crazy or or you know what I mean, shut down amidst having one of these contacts or situations or interactions. It would be normalized and they would be receptive to it. And maybe we can get some answers.
Science continues to probe the boundaries of reality. Perhaps one day the experiences of individuals like Dr. Blitch will be recognized not as anomalies, but as glimpses into a broader, more intricate truth about the human condition. Dr. John Blitch traced a deep, lingering sense of anxiety back to unsettling memories from his childhood. He vividly recalled seeing unusual faces, reminiscent of alien beings, peering through his bedroom window. These early encounters left an enduring emotional imprint, contributing to long-term behavioral patterns such as compulsively checking locks and curtains each night. The intensity of these childhood experiences had a profound psychological effect, one that followed him into adulthood and instilled a persistent feeling of vulnerability. When reflecting on his own experiences, Dr. Blitch considered the nature of the beings involved. Unlike others who interpret such encounters as entirely threatening, he offered a more nuanced view. He noted that despite the disorienting aspects of these events, such as lost time and fragmented memories, the beings never left him in harm's way. Whether returning him safely to his bed or placing him near his mountain bike after a mysterious episode, there was a pattern of being restored to his original location, which he found thought-provoking. He compared this selective memory loss to the use of anesthesia in human medicine, where drugs can help suppress traumatic memories for the patient's psychological benefit. Dr. Blitch speculated that these beings might employ a highly advanced form of energy, possibly targeted at memory centers in the brain like the hippocampus, to reduce emotional distress. From this perspective, the memory disruptions might not be a sign of hostility, but rather an attempt to prevent psychological overload. To help explain the difficult balance between discomfort and intent, Dr. Blitch shared an analogy from his personal life.